Okay, well, first off, thank you for coming. I already said this earlier, but thank you for coming. I am going to tell a little bit about myself. I know, like, all of y'all know, like, surface value me, and there's a few out there that know a lot more than surface value. So you guys are going to hear a lot. So I came out here just a few days ago when the weather was lovely, and sat by that fire, and I typed out everything that was on my heart. And I didn't know what I was going to talk about because I have went through a lot of crap in the last year. But I will be 33 this December, and I have actually went through a lot of crap in my 33 years of life. So I just came out here, and I just was typing away about my life. And I'm actually not going to talk a whole lot about this last year, which was really, it was a God wink for me that I am doing well on my healing journey for the things that I went through in the last year. So, for those of you that don't know, my name's Lindsey Arnold. I hope everybody knew that. Nice to meet you guys. I have 4 children, 11, 5, 5, and 4. 3 boys, 1 girl. My 3 boys are adopted. Miss Kathy Bass actually presented our first child when he was placed with us. My husband's back there. Say hi. So yeah, 11, 5, 5, and 4. 3 boys, 1 girl. I mean, if anybody wants to talk about foster care, we can do that after. I'll convince you to foster. Okay? All right, yep, I'm married to that guy back there. Let me say some great things about him. In the last year, okay, I'm already getting emotional. In the last year, I've seen this man own all of his mistakes. I've seen this man take accountability for the things that he has screwed up. I like to say I married a good man. He got lost for a while, and now I'm married to a great one. So that's all I'm going to say about that. That's all I'm going to say about that. So this property that we're on right now actually belongs to my mom. She passed away earlier this year. Not here. Nobody freak out. She was renting it out to somebody. And then so I have a few really good memories here. My college, was it law school? Where's Carrie?
You were law school, yeah.
Where you at? It was law school graduation?
Yes.
Okay, so my law school graduation was here, and we had a little dinner. I don't even remember. I just remember the pictures of it. So there's that. But the corner of this property, it's 27 acres here, the corner of this property literally touches the property that I actually grew up on. So if you guys head out of the road here, take a left, it's the first left. That's the house that I grew up in from the time I can remember until about 5th grade. Oh, she wants in on this conversation. So that cemetery that you guys parked at, which I know some of you all might have been a little creeped out about that, sorry. That is called Pisgah. So it's called, all the different spellings. I don't know if that is actually correct, but that is what I've known it as, called Pisgah. There used to be a little one-room church there, actually, and then obviously got tore down. So that's where you guys were parking. So I am familiar with this area, right? Okay, I kind of jumped ahead. I'm an attorney. I don't know if y'all knew that, but I'm an attorney. I deal mostly with juvenile abuse and neglect cases, so hopefully you never need to deal with me. But if you do have to deal with me, I promise that we'll get you through it. Also adoptions. Got anybody wanting to adopt, send them my way. What else do I do? I'm a daughter to the best dad in the world. He's awesome. And body by LJA. Got this whole thing going on too. Okay. All right, so let's see, what do we want to talk about first? I want to talk about my childhood, okay? So this is going to seem a lot like a Let's Bash My Mom session, but it's not, okay? So let me first acknowledge my mom had her own traumas that she never dealt with. She was a product of abuse as a child into adulthood. She was in a domestic violence relationship prior to my dad. All things that never got addressed. I believe she was actually undiagnosed bipolar. And then got a hysterectomy and never followed up with proper hormone medication and things. So lots of things that caused her to be the way that she was. But I'm going to share some things that might be triggering for y'all if you've been through any shit. I'm sure you have. So just kind of a warning there, okay? So now, like today, you guys see me up here, and you guys are like, she's a magnet, she's inspiring, like she's got all this energy, she's so real, she's so genuine. That has been a very like becoming journey, right? Like, so let's share something. So my kindergarten year, I remember it was nap time. I wasn't napping, I was talking, and this little girl was on the other side, and she said, her name's Erica, and she's in Bod Squad. She said, hey, what's your favorite color? And I was like, what's your favorite color? And she said blue, and I said, mine too. It was pink. It was pink back then, but I said it was blue too because I wanted her to be my friend. So just like a really small inkling of what I was like whenever I was younger. I was seeking affection, seeking love, seeking attention, and it stemmed from not getting it in my house, okay? So my mom was a stay-at-home mom until about 5th grade, and my dad worked nights, so he slept during the day, wasn't very involved at all, was a doormat to my mom, basically. I don't know who said that. So kind of rough, right? That was kindergarten. So one of my earliest memories regarding like trauma, I guess, would have been 3rd grade. I went to Grand Prairie Grade School, if you saw it out here. I came home from school and I was like, Mom, I got a new boyfriend. In 3rd grade, okay? Remember, 3rd grade. It's not that serious. And she was like, who? And I told her, and I proceeded to get lectured for 3 hours about how we don't date black boys. That was what I call like my first glimpse at who I was gonna become. I remember sitting in my living room, right over there, listening to my mom lecture me about all kinds of racist, crazy crap. And 3rd grade, so how old are you in 3rd grade? 9? I was 9 years old, and I knew that my grown adult mom was wrong. And I just remember sitting there, and in my brain, because I sat there, I didn't fight back, I just listened. And I remember thinking, this is wrong, but I'll sit here and listen. So that was like my first glimpse at like not just bowing down to like what my mom perceived or what like maybe society thought. Like I had my own truth, right? And I knew at 9 years old like that wasn't right. So next grade, 4th grade, okay? So 4th grade, I was a baller in basketball. I'm not even joking, but it was 4th grade. So we had, what was that, like Pee-wee, so we got to play with the boys. And I was good. I played in 3rd grade and I wasn't good. My mom thought I was gonna cheer. Did that later too. But so basketball I really excelled in, and it was something that I really loved because I was getting a lot of attention from my mom until it wasn't. So I was a star, again, this is 4th grade, but this is just my life, okay? So I was a starter in 4th grade, and we'd play against the boys, and I usually didn't have the most points on the team, but I was the one hustling the most, and I'm good enough to be starter 5. I was usually like number 2 on the team. And then that turned into, in 4th grade, lectures after every single game. Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do this? Why'd you wear it here? Why didn't you shoot here? And I stuck with basketball through high school, through sophomore year. I'll get to that in a second. So something else that I had a natural ability at that I really, really liked that soon became unhealthy for me because I was just trying to do my best to get that approval from my mom. It didn't work. If you didn't know. Okay, so 5th grade, complete memory block. I have no clue what happened in 5th grade. 6th grade, though, we moved to Centralia Junior High. Y'all, can we laugh about that for a second? My mom yelled at me when I was in 3rd grade for dating a guy that was an 8th black, and then she moved me to Centralia. So, I was told it was because my brother was getting made fun of by a teacher at Grand Prairie. I probably need to confirm that with him if that's actually why we moved. I don't really know. But in 6th grade, an experience that I want to share that this isn't traumatic. This is just something everyone needs to experience at some time. So again, I went to Grand Prairie. That was all white people, right? And there's like 90 kids, the whole school. So we moved to Centralia, and again, I was playing basketball, and we went to the community center for a basketball camp. Me and my brother, the white kids, we walk into Centralia Community Center, not the rec center, the community center. We're the only white people in there. I am so thankful for that experience. One, because of where I came from, I didn't understand, right? Like, my mom had all these like negative views. I knew it was wrong, but I didn't know what to think. So whenever we walk in, me and my brother are the only white people there. And by the end of the week, I had made some of the best memories of my life. So I hope that all of you get a chance to experience what it's like to be a minority. So that you can empathize with other people and just like, it's something that you're not aware of until you're in that situation, I guess. So that's kind of like a little side note there. Okay. 7th and 8th grade. I think it was more so 8th grade. So let's talk about school too. So school. I never missed a single day of school. Not one single day from kindergarten through senior year. Not one. And I used to get strep all the time. Supposedly. So I got all those perfect attendance trophies. I also made straight A's until junior year. I think I got a couple B's on a report card. So again, something else that I excelled at, but quickly became something that really sucked. So I have vivid memory of getting an 80% on a quiz. It was a 10-point quiz, like 10-question quiz. You miss one, you're already at a freaking B. So I got an 80 on it, and I still remember it. This is how trauma buried it is into my brain. It was one of those like lists or put the directions on the compass, north, south, east, west. Well, I did it super fast, and I just wrote north, south, east, west, just like not even thinking. Yeah, got screamed at for that one for a long time. So again, another thing that I excelled at, but quickly became something that I wasn't good enough for my mom. So if you guys haven't caught on, the theme of this is that feeling of not being good enough, right? And not being loved by somebody that should love you unconditionally. All right, back it up to 8th grade. Remember, moved to Centralia, even though she doesn't want me around black guys. I started writing notes with a guy that was black. A guy. He was a freaking kid. We were in 8th grade. So I used to write notes with this kid, and somehow my mom found out, I don't know how. She came to school, raided my locker, like with me standing next to her. That was great. Don't do that to your kids. So raided my locker, go home, and that was the first time that my mom ever kicked me. So I've been backhanded, punched, all things that a parent shouldn't do to a kid not that there's ever a good reason, because there's not. But so yeah, that time we were living in Walnut Hill at that point, and we came home from the raid of the locker, and I ended up in the fetal position with my mom kicking me. And then I don't know if it was the same situation or not, but I went to I was seeing like a doctor, right? Like every year I had to go to my doctor because I was under the age of 18. And my mom went with me because I had bruises all over my arms. And my mom said, you're going to tell him that that's from playing with older girls that are in high school when you play basketball. And the bruises were bad enough that the doctor asked, like, what was that from? But obviously my mom was sitting there, and I told him, and that was it. So I should have been a kid in the system. I guess I'm thankful I wasn't. I don't really know about that. But so we got to move from Centralia. I can't keep doing that. So my mom moved me to Salem High School. Because if you know the demographic of Salem, it's predominantly white. She told everyone that it was because I was going to get a basketball scholarship, which Coach Holst at the time had told my mom that it would be very likely that I could get a junior college scholarship to play basketball. So that's what she told everybody, and that might have been a half-truth, and that's what she, presented to everybody, and that's what they ran with. But I knew the rest of it was so that I would stop writing notes with a black kid, which was just insane. So we moved to Salem. a lot of high school is very blocked out for me, and I just had the realization this year as to why it's blocked out for me. I spent that time, my pants are falling down, girls. Like, I got too much things in here. What is this? Disposable camera. I got money. Hang on. What? Yeah, that's your money. Here, let's do this.
The one thing I told her is don't pay me in front of everybody.
You didn't. Here, give me just a second. I gotta tighten my pants. They were getting weighed down by all the things in my pocket. I ain't got no hits.
She couldn't find a belt sparkly enough.
All right. Hang on, I think I might have missed one thing I wanted to talk about. Okay. All right, high school. So a lot of high school is trauma blocked for me. Carrie, thankfully, can fill in something. She'll be like, you remember when we did this? And I'm like, no, I don't. So let's talk about my high school year. So my mom was the cool mom. She let me have parties, no alcohol. So pond parties. Yeah, so we had like a 2-acre pond at the time, and we would fill up an air mattress, and I would have friends over, and it was so fun. But no alcohol. I mean, we were underage, so that shouldn't have been the case anyways. But I forgot to mention, in my house, alcohol was evil, which I don't honestly believe a whole lot of good comes out of it. I do partake still, but I don't think the good outweighs the bad if you are in that position. Please seek help. Anyways, that was a little side note there. So in my house, it was like evil, like literally evil. Back it up to Erica, the girl I was talking about from kindergarten. She was my bestie whenever we were younger. And I went to get like a Capri Sun or something out of the fridge, and there was a beer sitting in front of it. And I was going to have to touch that beer to move it out of the way to grab my Capri Sun. I didn't know what to do, so I just shut the door. Like, that's how bad it was. I am thankful that I did not start drinking alcohol until the age that I did. So even though it was very unhealthy and I had to unlearn some crazy things, I guess I'm not necessarily mad about that one. But, okay, so freshman year, what'd I do? I played tennis, track, basketball, got straight A's, did all the things. I played tennis. So my freshman year of high school is whenever I first started tennis, and there were 13 girls on the team, and I was number 13, which means I was the worst. Couldn't be anybody on my team. I'm not kidding. I really couldn't. Abby Roundup was number 12.
That quickly changed.
Yeah. So obviously I have to get good at it if I'm going to do it. So by junior year I was number 2, and senior year I stuck at number 2. So tennis was something that I really latched on to because it was something my mom had never played. So my mom played basketball. She didn't go to college, but she played basketball through high school, and she's athletic. Get that from her. So tennis, I was like, sweet, this is something she don't know jack shit about, so maybe she won't lecture me. I was wrong. Didn't matter. So I didn't start getting critiques about tennis. And like, so when I say critiques, I mean like 2 to 3 hour lectures. I don't mean like 15-minute car ride home, we talk about it. No, it's the whole ride home and then some. Like, you're just trying to go to sleep, Mom. Like, I don't care. Yes, it was an unforced error. I'm sorry. Like, whatever. So she started doing that with tennis too. So moved to my junior year of high school. I was tired of basketball. We were doing 2-a-days and weights, and again, I just stopped. I stopped having the love for it, and I just blame my mom for that, which is fine. But so I had the choice of if I was going to play basketball my junior year or not. And because if I played my junior year, you got to play your senior year. You can't just dip out that 4th year. And I decided to quit. So I just played my freshman year and my sophomore year. And now looking back the other day whenever I was typing this out, that was my second glimpse at who I could become. So that everybody, my mom, coaches, everybody told me that I was going to regret that decision, that you're going to regret not playing, you're going to regret not playing. Nope. I got so much more peace at my house because I didn't have to get lectured for that sport too. You know, I only had tennis now to deal with. And I made that decision for myself. So I've never regretted not playing my junior and senior year. So like God winks, right? That was like my second God wink, but I didn't know it at the time what was going on. Trigger warning coming up, just so you know. So something also weird about my mom was that she was very, very strict on some things and very, very lax on some things. So she would allow boys to be in my room with the door shut at ages, I don't think I'm ever gonna let my kid have their door shut in my house with a kid. I don't know. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But starting in about 8th grade, it was very pushed on me that I have a boyfriend. Like I was supposed to have a boyfriend. Looking back, I think maybe she thought somebody needed to take care of me. I don't really know what that was about, because it would be pushed on me that I have a boyfriend, and then she would interfere into the relationship, 8th grade relationship, and make me break up with them. Like literally, she would text guys, like from my phone, break up with, it was just cray. Okay, so high school. So I don't know what year this was, I'll just say that. I think I know it was high school. I don't honestly remember. It happened sometime in my life. And I was living at Walnut Hill. This was MySpace, I keep wanting to say MySpace days, before Facebook, and I met this guy, and I knew a girl that he used to date, and the girl he used to date was so pretty, and he was talking to me. So I was like, he must think I'm pretty, and I think his ex-girlfriend's pretty. Oh. So he came over to my house. My mom drove us to Family Video in Centralia, picked out a movie, came back, and first time I've ever met this guy. He is driving age, I am not. That's all I really know, because my mom took us to get to Family Video, but he drove himself to my house. First time I've ever met this person in real life, right? Just talking to him on MySpace. She allows me and him to go to my room, door shut, and he raped me. I never told that many people at once. And then, to make it worse, the next day, my mom got mad at me for something and took my phone. And this guy had texted me, hey, sorry about last night, let's keep that between the two of us. And my mom reads that, and she doesn't know, I'm not told her. And I thought, because of the history that I have with my mom, that I was going to be in trouble. So it's like, what do I say to make it not as bad as it was? Because if I tell her we had sex, I'm going to be in big trouble, right? And so I told her that he fingered me. So then I got lectured for 2 hours because I didn't tell her the truth. And I actually had this conversation with my husband the other night. I think, because another experience I'm going to tell you about, I think had I told her that my mom would have had the reaction that a mother should have had. And I am sad that I didn't give her the opportunity to mother that correctly, but I didn't. And I forgive myself for not doing that then. So I believe that was high school. It had to have been high school time period. Junior year, I meet my best friend, that girl right there, in social studies with, what's his name? Mr. Bryant. I kept wanting to write Mr. Brummett, and I'm like, that's not right. Mr. Bryant. He was my tennis coach, yeah. Mr. Bryant, social studies teacher. She struggled with social studies, so I let her copy. And we became... I just didn't study. Yeah. I remember that one time I sat like this, and he came and looked on my back because he thought that I had answers on my back. Girl, I ain't hating on you. I hated that class. Do you remember when he sang that? Yes. What's it called? Indiana Outlaw. Yeah. What was it? Anyways, that's just between. You probably know it too, but. Yes. He used to do that and go full force, and everybody was like.
And this guy looks like Santa Claus.
He did look like Santa Claus. I don't know why he did that. I don't even know what was the lesson, but I remember that part. So remember, my mom looks really cool from the outside. Let me just say a little bit more on this. So my mom was all about appearances. So growing up, I was involved in every sport. I made good grades. I was dressed well. We usually did reselling stuff when we would go rummaging, which I still do today. But I always looked clean, right? And going to Grand Prairie, the social class is pretty low. So I was a popular kid from the outside, right? We looked like the all-American family, like everything was great, everything was perfect, and that's what she portrayed to everyone, and that's what I portrayed too. Like I wasn't telling, like when I was younger, I wasn't telling people, man, she's crazy. Like I didn't know any different. Well, junior year, Carrie comes over, and we lived out in Walnut Hill, and it was so far out that you had to meet to get your pizza. Like you can't, they don't deliver it to you. So I get my Oldsmobile, I think at the time. I did not have the G6 yet. So we're like coming up to the propane place, and I was like, let's go get snow cones. And then it took a little long, because I was like, let's just go into town, get snow cones, come back, and we'll meet him. Well, the pizza guy ends up calling my mom and saying, where you at? And then she calls me, because I wasn't where I was supposed to be. And instead of saying, hey, where you at? You should be there, or maybe she did ask that, I don't know. Like, most parents would be concerned, why aren't you a half mile up the road? No. Cussing is coming. She called me every single name in the book. Bitch, cunt, slut, whore. Because I wasn't there to pick up the damn pizza. And I put it on speakerphone, because I was like, someone's going to hear this. And she was like, what the fuck?
She had tried to tell me and I didn't believe it.
I know. I was like, I swear she's crazy. And they're like, she's so nice. We used to joke. My mom's name was Renee Diane Hart Waters, whatever. She'd switch her name back to Hart. And we used to joke, like in the family, like me, my brother, my dad, and her would joke that Renee was one person and Diane was the other. We got Diane and the world got Renee. So that, like Carrie, you hearing that was like the most validating thing of my life. That day was the last time she ever tried to hit me, and I don't think I've ever told you that. So I remember my mom yelling at me when we get back to the house, and she was trying to get Carrie to leave, and I said, she ain't leaving. It was the first time I had stood up and talked back. Usually I just sat there quietly and listened. Cried. I used to cry a whole lot. And I was like, no. Again, like I knew, okay, maybe I should have been there to get the pizza, but I could have just told you what I was doing, and it would have been fine, right? So after Carrie left, she still is like getting after me. Same doorway I was standing in whenever she had kicked me back in 8th grade. And she, like, this wasn't just like some backhand stuff. Like, she was fighting me. And she went like this, and I said, do it. Like, I was ready. I wanted to fight her so bad. She didn't, and she never tried it again. Now, the mental abuse that I suffered from her never stopped. Actually, never stopped. So we went to Wren Lake. I ended up going to Wren Lake on a tennis scholarship. And then that was awesome. Like, I have really good memories from Wren Lake. However, I still lived at home. If you guys want to shut that, if you guys are like super cold back there, you guys can shut it. I don't know. We good? All right. So get to Wren Lake and play tennis there. That was good. That's like mostly good. But yeah, still living at home. Oh, back it up. I never finished this thought. The reason a lot of high school is blocked for me is because my dad lived in Walnut Hill with my brother, so he could finish high school in Centralia, but I couldn't go there. So my mom rented an apartment on Oglesby Street in Salem so that I could go to school in Salem. And we didn't fake it. Like, I stayed there. Me and my mom stayed there. And I'm like, oh, it's because I had so much time with just her that I've trauma blocked so much of that stuff. I'm working through it. We'll see. We'll see what all comes to light. So then after Wren Lake, where I met Kayla, doubles partner in tennis, we actually both went to Lindenwood. And when I tell you those were the best years of my life, to that date, I won't say forever, since forever, but at that time, those were the best days of my life. So I was living not in my house, right? Like, was no longer living under my mom's roof. And back it up. I specifically remember a time going to Walmart at like 1 p.m., like in the afternoon, and getting yelled at by my mom for it. And I don't know why, but I did. So I had a moment in Lindenwood when it was like 1 a.m., and that was back when Walmart stayed open 24 hours. And I needed to get something from Walmart, and I was living on my own, or I probably had a roommate, I'm sure, at the dorms. And I went to Walmart at 1 a.m. And I remember like just like it being in the parking lot and being so relieved, like no one's gonna yell at me for this. I can just be here at any time of day. Like I'm not doing anything wrong. I just needed something. I don't even remember what I was getting, but that was another like glimpse at like you're on the right track. Like you're gonna be all right. You're on the right track. Yeah. So Lindenwood, literally, like. Now I was still not the best person at Lindenwood. So again, me and my husband have lots of really good talks. But we talked about this the other night, how like my view of myself is probably worse than I actually was. But I was horrible in relationships. I cheated on most of the guys that I dated, like 98% of them probably. Also got cheated on a lot in most of my relationships. Forgot to mention, I caught my mom cheating on my dad twice. Once with a guy that was my age, a couple years older than me, and then once with an old guy that lives up there. So there's that. We've never had any kind of guidance as to what a relationship should look like, just was told I needed to be in one. And then Lindenwood, I was dating a guy at Lindenwood. This is just fun. His dad was half black and his mom was white. But we were okay, my mom was okay with him because his stepdad was like the president of Dial Soap. So he had a lot of money. So that made it okay. We no longer cared so much then. When I was dating him, my mom decided to take my ex-boyfriend to lunch. Excuse me, ma'am, what are you doing? And then I ended up dating that guy again. That I could just stand up here and talk about that relationship, but Crystal already talked about narcissists, so I think we're okay there. I mean, I'm talking about one too, but in a different way. So that's a whole nother day. Let's see if there's anything I want to hit on before I get towards the end of this. I don't know. All right. So, I mean, okay, so let's talk about a little bit of the verbal abuse stuff that happened after my junior year of high school. I was working at QOM, actually, Quinlan Mediation, that's where I met Liza. And I was pregnant with Emma, and my mom was in her little correctional officer outfit that she wears. She was very proud of herself. And she just starts talking. And she's like, I was talking to the coworkers about how fat you're getting, and we were all laughing about it. And I was like, excuse me? So I actually said something back to her. I was like, excuse me? I was like, I'm pregnant, like very pregnant, not like 2 weeks pregnant. I'm very pregnant. And my mom did what she always did, so I didn't really get into it a whole lot. I started enforcing a lot of boundaries with her, and the boundaries were for myself, not for her. So whenever the verbal abuse kept happening, I decided, like, I'm not going to accept those words, and I'm going to be vocal about it. Like, I'm going to tell you I don't like it. So that was one of the, later ones that she did, and she was saying all kinds of racial slurs and stuff about some black kids that were running around, man, the terms that she would use. And I called her out. I was like, what are you talking about? And she didn't like it. She did what she always does, back up, defensive, and then shut down and change subject. Back it up. So all these times whenever I would get lectured or beat or whatever it was, not one time did I ever get an apology. Not once. What would happen was, an hour or two would go by, and I'm sure that she probably felt bad. And she would come in my room and she would say, hey, you want to go shopping? You want to go shopping? You want to go have a girls' day? Fuck you, no, I don't. No, I don't. And I did. I would go on those until I got in high school. And then in high school, I was like, no, I know what you're doing. Because I didn't understand it. Again, whenever I was a kid, I just wanted that approval. I was just wanting her to love me. So I was like, sure, we'll get to go shopping. Let's do that. Yeah. So those boundaries that I'm talking about, those were for myself. Like I got to the point, I did not care what she had to say back to me. I did not care how she took it. I did not care if I hurt her feelings. I was tired of her hurting mine. So if you have somebody in your life like that, boundaries are for you. And if they don't respect those, then they're not your people, okay? And if they think the boundaries are you being mean, then they're not your people. If they're not willing to have a conversation about that, not your people, okay? So ultimately, June of 2018 was the last time I ever had a conversation with my mom in that kitchen in there. And my brother had went through some really crappy stuff and had a lot of his trauma resurfacing. And he wanted to address that with my mom. He wasn't ready to do that, but I was trying to be a good sister, and was like, I'll go with you. I'll support you. I'll go with you. Let's go talk. So we did. He just wasn't ready to do that. But that's just what happened. So we did. We confronted her about it all. He wanted me to confront her about the things that she had done to me. Backstory. This is fun. ADHD speaking up here. Babe, I think you might have been with me for this time. It was another time we were having a conversation in there, and she was asking about why my oldest, Bryson, was removed from his previous foster home. And I told her, I'll tell y'all too, that it was considered an emergency removal because the foster mom had allegedly physically assaulted an older youth in the house. And my mom was like, what? That's so awful. And I said, you've done a lot worse to me. And she said, you probably deserved it. Yeah. So that's how quick that would flip. She was having lots of empathy for my son, and then I turned it around on her. Nope, all of a sudden, not interested in that. I'm gonna hurry. Okay, I know we're getting late on time. So ultimately, June 2018 was the last conversation I had with my mom. We confronted her about it. She wasn't receptive at all. Me and my brother both sent follow-up texts a few times, in the months following, if you just seek help, we will, you go to seek help, we'll do it together. We are willing to do that, or at least try. And we never got text back. In those years following, though, she still pretended to the public, and I believe until the day she died, that we had some sort of relationship to anyone that was outside of her immediate circle. So if it was somebody that didn't know, right, if it was a coworker or somebody, she pretended as though she was still in our lives. What was it, last year, 2 years ago? 22. In 22, she posted a photo on Facebook of her and my oldest son and said something along the lines of, can't wait to see you again. My brother told me, and I unblocked her, got on it, and I commented, and I said, this was 4 years ago at the time. I said, this was 4 years ago, you've never once asked to see him again. What do you mean you're going to see him? Can't wait to see him again. And then I got blocked. But no. And then she used my husband's name. My husband used to be a cop. She used his name to get out of his speeding ticket a year and a half after he had stopped being a cop, but the guy didn't know, what to do. Because he was give her a ticket, but it too late. Would do that. I can't tell you the number of people that have reached out to me after she passed. Who was I'm so sorry. She was a great person. She loved you so much. I'll get to that point in a second. But so I just talked to multiple people that were oh, I didn't know you guys didn't have a relationship. I'm it's been 5 years since she spoke to me. And there was a couple times in the last 5 years, other than those immediate months following, that I attempted to reach out to her. So I have happy memories too. Christmas was 50-50. But one happy memory from Christmas is whenever we would set up the Christmas decorations. They had these little villages with lights, and we put them on my piano, and I have my piano from when I was a child. I have it in my house still. And so I put those all up on my fire mantle and was playing Elvis Christmas music, because that's something that we always did. And it was the first time in probably a year and a half that I even felt I want to talk to my mom. So I sent her a text, or I sent her a picture of it, and I said, just turned on Elvis Christmas, just thinking about you in the good times, or something like that. Never got anything back. Yeah, that's hard shit right there. So June 2018 was the last time I talked to my mom. I had my daughter July 5th of 2018. My mom has never met my daughter. My daughter's name is Emma June Arnold. My name is Lindsey June Arnold. My grandma's name on my mom's side is Gladys June Arnold. My aunt is Brenda June Arnold, and my cousin is Wendy June. No, not Wendy. Wendy's daughter, Carly June. So it's a family name. And it's something that I had picked out, Alex didn't have a choice. If we're having a girl, her name's gonna be this. If it's a boy, you can pick. And I had I had those couple weeks of am I gonna keep this name or am I going to change it? And I ultimately decided to keep the name because it is my choice to break generational trauma. It's my choice to break generational curses. And we are going to change any negative meaning that name holds from that side of the family. So maybe if Emmett has a daughter, she'll give her the middle name June. We'll see. And that also means my mom never met my youngest, Zane. He's fun. You guys, he was the one that was talking about kissing the muscles and stuff. Yeah, that was so cute. So she's never met him. The only child that I have that has a memory of her is my mom. Or goodness, the only child I have. Bryson is the only one that remembers her. Oh, man. Yeah. Okay, so back to that conversation in 2018. My brother was really wanting me to, like, bring up all of my crap to my mom. Was like, your turn. And I was like, Lucas, I've been dealing with this for her for years. Like, I had been chipping away at it. I don't need to have one big blow-up session with her. So that was just, like, another glimpse at, like, my boundary setting and what could be done. Ultimately ended up being our last conversation. And that kind of just is what it is at this point. So, looking back, right, hindsight, I know my mom loved me. I know she did. But I also know she did not love herself at all. Like, no way could she have loved herself to treat the people closest to her, me, my brother, my dad, the way that she did. And she wasn't able to love herself because she never dealt with the trauma that she had endured. And she was bleeding on all the people around her. And I don't think that she even knew why she was doing that. Like, I don't think it was ever brought to her attention. Like, if you address this would get better. After we had that conversation in 2018, we attempted to speak with some of my mom's siblings, specifically one of her older sisters that she was closest to, and verbatim, the response was, some things are meant to be left in the past. And so that just tells you what that family does. So here today to tell you, if you don't deal with it, somebody else will. Okay? So if you've got something in your past that you are avoiding, please find a safe place, a safe person, and deal with it. Because if you don't, you're going to either pass it on to your kids or you're going to give it to the people around you. Okay? What are some? I got some other good memories. I kind of said it. We used to go rummage. We would go shopping, like rummage sales and stuff. And I always carried a baby doll around. Like, I was probably like 11 whenever I finally got rid of it, because I really wanted to be a mom, and so I always had this baby doll. And so whenever we would go rummage sale shopping, I would go to the 50-cent section and get little newborn clothes. And I was like, everyone's gonna think it's a real baby. And I'm like, no one thought that was a real baby. Nobody did. So that's some really good memories with my mom. And then also, my mom used to waitress at Austin's, like, very randomly. And we went and ate there one day, and I had my baby doll. And I specifically remember words hurt, guys. I specifically remember this other waitress saying, isn't she a little old to have that baby doll? And my mom stood up for me, and I was like, yeah, get her. So that's a really good memory. Another one that I have out here at this place, this is really sad too, but I had a miscarriage prior to having Emma, and I called my mom, because I was obviously still talking to her then. I called my mom, and I told her what happened, and she went and picked up my son from daycare. She went and picked up, we had another foster daughter at the time from the place that she needed to be picked up, went and got KFC. I've been eating that a lot lately. That's weird. That was just a little realization there. She picked up KFC, brought it to the house so I wouldn't have to deal with dinner, pulled me into the garage and gave me the best hug she had ever given me. It's probably the only time I remember my mom feeling motherly. And that's why I say, I think, had I told her the truth back in high school about what happened to me, I think she probably would have had the response that a mother should. But, so then the next day after that, I came out here with my son and then the foster daughter that we had, and she just took them and they played, and I just laid out here on this picnic table and just looked up at the sky. Because if anyone in here has had a miscarriage, you understand the emotional toll that takes on you. And my mom, just being there and offering that hand, that's a really good memory I've got with her. What else? My work ethic comes from my mom. She likes a lot more manual labor than what I like. I don't do that stuff so much more. So try to, work smarter, not harder. I think I look a lot like my mom. The older I'm getting, the more I catch myself in the mirror, like, well, there she is. My legs come from my mom, which that ain't a bad thing. I'll take that. And my hustle as far as like my job, all the jobs that I do, that comes from her. So and these were like fun little realizations. So most recently this was being rented out, but the things that, like these little motivational signs, I kept them up. Those were things that my mom had here, and this was like a whole workout space. So even though we hadn't talked in 5 years, we were doing like similar stuff. And my mom always had like multiple forms of income. She had this, she was renting out a basement where she was living. She had there's camper plugins out here, she'd rent it out to that. And y'all know I'm not just an attorney. So I got my attorney, my fitness clothes, my online services, all that stuff. So I credit that to her as well. One last thing. Let's see if I can actually sum this up. So I have been told that I'm inspiring and that you guys said a lot of nice words on there, but specifically told that I'm inspiring and like I could never do what you do and all this stuff. And like, it's like was lost on me. I'm like, what do you mean? I just like doing this. This is the job that I like. I want to help people. I like to dance, so I just do it. I'm thanking God for this because, again, it's like been a becoming thing. I don't give a shit about what anyone else thinks about me. You guys got a little glimpse as to what my life was like, and I'm still standing here alive and well, married with kids, a good house, a nice house, a good job. All these people that wanted to come just to see me, not really just to see me, to experience all of it, but something that I was hosting. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, magnetic. That was the other thing. And I was kind of analyzing my friends through the years, and I am drawn to real. Because, like, my friends are so different. Like, if I just started naming them off, like, put them us in the same room, and you're like, what? But I'm drawn to real. Authentic would be the word that my bestie Liza would say. I am drawn to authentic. So I would like to encourage you today to figure out what that is for you, whatever that is for you. It may not be twerking up here on stage and putting a suit on the next day to go to court, but maybe it's drawing, maybe it's painting, maybe it's singing. Whatever it is that feeds your soul, just do it. Stop giving a shit about what anyone else thinks, because as soon as you stop doing that, as soon as you stop caring about what everyone else thinks, that's when people are going to be drawn to you. Because everyone's like, you're so confident. And I was like, I don't understand. Like, I'm just doing the things that I like. But that's it. That's as simple as it is. Do the things you like, pour into it, and people will think you're magnetic.